Welcome to Slam's Fist Fact, Episode 2. Episode 2 because all the major platforms took down our podcast, so we're starting over. I am Brandon, here with the Han Solo to my Chewbacca, the Doc to my Marty, and the Jules Winfield to my Vincent Vega, my co-host, Richard. Rick, how are you doing today?
Excellent, man. Excellent. How are you today?
Wonderful. Did you get the last reference?
Yes.
Okay. For everybody out there
Modern
that
Family?
doesn't know, huh?
Modern Family?
No, Jules Winfield
what
to
did you
Vincent.
say?
Jules Winfield to Vincent Vega.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't even hear that.
That's Pulp Fiction.
Yeah,
That's
I
Sam
got you.
Jackson and John Travolta.
Not gonna lie, totally thought you said something else.
Either way, I didn't. So that's what you are. But everybody, welcome to Slam's Fist Fact, Episode 2. We hope you're back. If you're new, welcome. We try to have a fun time here. So we're going to jump right into our first segment, and I'm going to try something that's called What Are You Drinking? Hope they can hear
So
the
what are
pop.
you drinking today?
Ginger ale,
Ginger ale? Nice.
sugar-free
I'm
ginger ale.
ooh. I'm drinking some high quality H2O right here.
Oh, it's at the perfect 65 to 85 room temperature water.
Yep.
But anyway, I totally forgot to do this last podcast with her, what are you drinking? But like always, like we used to do in the podcast that doesn't exist anymore. Thank you, Mac, for giving us that recommendation of telling us we should add a what to drink. I know you commented last week and we're excited that we're back, so I still wanted to give you the shout out for you're the reason that we do what you're drinking. So love you, Mac, for that one. But anyway, Richard, this week in history. Let's start out with you. What do you got? Let's see how many we combine again this week. I don't think it'll be any because mine are none in the last century or two. So we'll see.
Okay. Then I don't think we're gonna have overlap really. But
Actually,
we'll
one of
check it
mine
out.
is. I lied.
Oh well. So first, this week in history, October 19th, my wife was born. A wonderful wife Wit, who listens to the podcast and who supports me to help me be able to record this podcast. His birthday is this weekend.
Yay,
shout out to her.
Whitney.
Love her. She's awesome. Her birthday is this week. So my first, most important this week in history is her.
There you go. Yay, Whitney. So my more important than Rick's is this Saturday is Rick's wife's Whitney's birthday. I'm kidding.
She's gonna love that.
No, but happy birthday, Whitney. We're glad that Rick met somebody like you. Anyway, so first one that I have, 1774, as of 2 days ago, October 14th. The first, not the second, the first Continental Congress was formed. They didn't write the Declaration of Independence. No. They wrote the Declaration of Colonial Rights and sent it back to the king and was like, these are our rights. This is what we should have. Taxation with representation, stuff like that. The Second Continental Congress didn't meet until about a year and a half later at the end of 1775 or in the beginning of 1776. A couple months before they wrote the Declaration on July 2nd. Fun fact, not the 4th. We celebrate the press release, not the day it was written. And yeah, not many people, another fun little tidbit, not many people that were at the first were at the Second Continental Congress. There were a couple. You had, Jefferson, George Washington, Ben Franklin, some of those main guys, but like John Hancock wasn't at the first one and things like that because different people represented them a year later. Got any more?
Oh yeah. Also on October 14th, but quite a little bit later, on October 14th, 1908, the Chicago Cubs win the team's second World Series championship. And I think a decent amount of people that pay attention to sports will know that their third World Series did not come until 2016. the 108-year drought of the Chicago
But it
Cubs.
was so great to see. It was so great to witness
Oh, it
the
was
history.
wonderful.
Oh,
Wonderful. But so yeah, their second World Series was this week in history.
yeah. Um, so my second one, another good old one, an American Revolution tidbit right here. This week in 1781, the American Revolution also ended.
Ooh.
General Lord Cornwallis surrendered in Yorktown, marking the end of the American Revolution, or as the British call it, the American fight for independence. Not a revolution. You got
Fair
any?
enough, I guess.
You got any more?
One more.
Got it.
This week in history, in 1964, Martin Luther King Jr. was awarded the Nobel Prize for Peace.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Fun. Now y'all get an extra one because I just read this and I didn't write it down because I thought Rick was. This week, also, way after, they commemorated Martin Luther King Jr. Day to be a federal holiday in January. So, same week, different years. My last one is on October 20th, so this coming Sunday. In 1977, the Leonard Skinner plane crashed, killing Ronnie Van Zant and the guitarist Steve. And I'm sorry I don't remember your last name, but I know your first name's Steve. And he would have survived, but because there were people that survived, right? Like their other guitarist that plays Freebird survived. He would have survived, but he was drunk and not buckled in, and he was standing up and yelling at someone. Fun fact.
I think that's how he would have wanted to go.
I agree. It's crazy to think that those guys were only around and made so many good hits in 4 years.
Yeah, it's a wildly short time span for the popularity they started gaining during that time.
And you have to think like people that know Leonard Skinner that aren't like super diehard fans. Clearly, like diehard fans know what songs were Ronnie Van Zant's and what were the next guy, which was either his cousin or his brother that took over. It's either his brother that took over and his cousin is the lead singer of 38 Special, or vice versa. I can't remember which one's his brother, which one's his cousin, but he's still a Van Zant. So it's like they don't know anything besides that guy because they still tour today.
Yeah.
As those Leonard Skinner. The only great thing that has ever came out of Jacksonville, Florida, is Leonard Skinner. Can't tell me anything else cool has ever came out of Jacksonville. Besides Leonard Skinner. The music capital of the world now. Jacksonville, Florida. Who would have thought?
Wow. Yeah, I did not know that. Fun facts. You have any more this week's in histories?
I don't. We bought Alaska this week, by the way. In the 1800s, not in 2024. For $7.2 million.
I love how your answer was, I don't, but also this week.
I read it. I skipped over it.
Well, it was my turn to talk about something, to figure out what we should talk about today, right?
Yeah.
And as I'm thinking and researching and looking around the news, and there's a lot of negativity out there for sure. We don't really like that on this podcast. So I found out that NASA is on a space exploration for aliens.
Yeah. They need to be.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Main goal, in my opinion.
Duh.
So the Europa Clipper was launched by NASA out of Cape Canaveral this week. And its main goal was to investigate possible alien life on Europa, aptly named. The moon of Jupiter. And so, for some clarification here, they're not looking for little gray men or some kind of spacefaring alien life.
They're looking for
possible
shapeshifters.
microorganisms.
Oh.
That too. Yeah. But they're looking for like microorganisms that might be alive on Europa beneath the ice, right? So, fun fact about Europa is the ice on the surface in some places is 25 kilometers thick. Now, real quick math, Brandon, how much is that in miles for our American listeners?
At least 20.
Well, no. It is 15.5 miles.
I lied to everyone. I'm sorry. I lied. I should figure this out. I guess I have to use the metric system for 1 week coming up. So
that is true. You're going to need to get familiar, sir. But scientists theorize there is a liquid ocean beneath that huge chunk of ice on the surface. And so that's what this probe, this Europa Clipper, is set out to find. But what's just, to me, just as interesting as the mission itself is how they're doing it. So I'm a big movie buff. Brandon likes movies, probably more than me. And
Definitely.
if we remember the movie Armageddon
Yeah.
and how they do the slingshot maneuver and how Thornton is explaining it to the crew,
Mm-hmm.
that is kind of what they're doing with the Europa Clipper. They are launching it in orbit so it circulates around Earth and then drifts off, catches Mars's orbit, slingshots.
Oh
and
shit, we're
drifts
doing a
off
double slingshot here.
We are.
Oh god.
So that it drifts off into Europa's orbit. Now, when I was looking this up, the distance that it's going to travel is 1.8 billion miles. Now, one of the reasons that's really crazy is it's nowhere near that far if you were to draw a straight line from Earth's orbit to Jupiter's orbit, where Europa's going around it, right? But because of the huge circular pattern that is the double slingshot, it is traveling crazy far. And it is going to get there before the probe launched in Europe earlier this year. Yes, it's crazy. It's crazy. I don't
So
know.
not only are we going to look for aliens in the ice, we're time
But we
traveling.
beat Europe at something else.
Again.
It is expected, let's see, it is expected to arrive in roughly 6 years. 2030 is the estimated arrival time on Europa.
What the fuck?
Hey, man, things take time. 1.8 billion miles.
Better be 5 years if it didn't slingshot around Mars.
I bet it's at least 20 kilometers.
Has to be. Has to be at least that. 15 miles for everyone who was wondering. Know that now. So does one, I don't know how many of y'all out there want this to be true, but I want aliens to be a thing.
Absolutely.
So if they find a microorganism that holds life, that's cool. I want this Europa thing to land and a 3-foot tall thing shoot a laser beam at it and it gets destroyed right after that video footage gets sent back to Earth. That's what I want to have.
That.
Huh?
I said, I don't know about the odds of that, but
pretty good if you ask
though,
all the people down in New Mexico and Utah and Nevada.
Maybe. But the concept of if there is life starting on another planet so far distant from ours, right? But still in our same solar system, is that means it's easier to propagate life on other planets than what some people have thought in the past, scientists thought in the past. Meaning that there could be 3-foot tall gray men that shoot laser beams. They would have
to be tiny.
Why would they have to be tiny? Well, I want to hear your scientific
Well, I'm
theory.
just saying on this moon, right? This moon is 1/4 the diameter of Earth, right? But it weighs more than Earth, so it's super heavy. But if it's 1/4 the diameter, we all can't fit on there. They got to be smaller. They adapt to the surrounding environment. So therefore, over time, they would adapt to be smaller.
Of course, that makes way more sense than anything else.
Yeah. Hire me, NASA, if you want to find aliens. I'll get it out by the end of the year. Like,
I say we just launch Brandon.
dude, I don't know if I can do 6 years in a spaceship.
Man, that'd be rough.
What if you? Well, I guess you wouldn't sleep. Well, you would sleep, but not for the whole 6 years. It's like that movie with one of the Chris's, Pratt, where he like wakes up like halfway to their destination, and it was like 92 years to go or something, so he knows he's like going to die on this spacecraft now. Like, I would be terrified to do that, but also for everyone out there, just know if aliens are a thing or we are going to try to make life on another planet, I will also be the first in line because that's awesome. And if I die as the first person in space to go freaking try to populate something in another galaxy, so be it.
Dude, we're waiting outside that line like Black Friday shopping. Let me tell you.
Yeah, dude, I'm gonna have a tent and everything set up. And then people that are waiting in front of me, I'll be like, "Hey, they said it's off. You can just go home, and that way we can get up closer to the line." But there are definitely crazier alien people out there than me. But I want it to be a thing. I want it to be real.
Absolutely. I mean, I think they're out there somewhere, but they could be incredibly far away.
I think they're already here on Earth, but that's a whole different topic for another. If y'all want a 3-hour podcast on that, we could talk about that later. I think aliens are already been here and they've been here for a long time.
Possible, I guess.
Just don't let you know. And I'm not talking about lizard people for all you crazy conspiracy theorists out there that think the entire government's like lizard people from underground or something. I think there are aliens living among us, and they're probing us to see, like, hey, is it cool to contact Earth yet, or are they still freaking crazy? And right now, we're still freaking crazy.
And if Brandon goes missing shortly after, I'll make sure to update Slam's Fist Back socials to let everyone know why the podcast stopped.
Yeah. Keep the podcast going. Maybe my alien that abducts me will still let me film via Starlink on his spaceship or something.
Hey, man. Or guest on the show.
Right now, we will be the first and only podcast with an alien. Own it. Excuse me. The ginger ale's making me burp.
First intergalactic interview right here at Slam's Fist Fact.
Mm-hmm. First intergalactic interview, first intergalactic listeners, because you know all his friends would be like, I just got on the First Earth podcast, motherfucker. Be so happy.
It's going to take some rough translation, but we'll make it work.
And I think they can speak any language, man.
Oh.
I think they're way smarter. I think they're way smarter than us. They have to be able to travel to here.
But if they're so much smaller, what if they're not?
No, I'm just saying on that one moon, they would have to be smaller to adapt to the environment.
I'm just going off what you said, man.
Or, all right, guys, you got me with this one, though. Now I'm on it. What if we have the Earth, right? And then the Antarctica wall is real. And then the ice wall is real. And there are other lands beyond the ice wall on Earth that the government doesn't allow us to see, and those are the aliens that are contacting us.
I mean, there is an ice wall.
Yeah, but I'm saying
not really up for debate.
But why can't you go past it?
Because it gets cold.
But then what if it warms back up? What if it's just a wall? What if it's just a wall around our 7 continents, or technically it'd be 6 because Antarctica is part of the ice wall. But what if it's just around that? And then, like, you go to the next land, and that's where, like, freaking Middle Earth is and things like that. Maybe that's how they got their ideas.
You down?
Huh? That's the center of the
Journey
Earth.
To the center of the Earth.
That's a whole different thing. Talking about the inner people, the core theory or whatever it's called, the hollow core theory. There we go. People think the core is hollow, and there's people living underground.
Oh, where else would Jurassic Park be, Brandon?
It could be outside the ice wall on another landmass.
Nah.
Yes. Fact. Oh no! I stopped the stream. No, I didn't. I slammed and it minimized the recording, and I was like, "Oh no!"
This is how technical difficulties start, folks.
But either way, that's a cool thing. It's cool to see. Maybe we'll find microorganisms, or maybe we'll just drill 15 miles or 25 kilometers for you European listeners into ice and then just find water for all we know. But I bet they find some sort of bacteria. We'll update you in 6 years to the day on Slams Fist podcast episode 342 or whatever it'll be at that point. But cool. You
Imagine
ready?
the ice fishing charters.
Oh, dude, that'd be great. You ready for our game?
All right. Ready as I'll ever be, big boy.
All right. So, to go over last week, Rick gave me the top 5 highest grossing rom-coms of all time. So now, I figured I would go something easy to rank you out of 5 with.
Mhm.
So I stuck with movies as well to make it easy for you. And people are shooting guns outside my window right now, or fireworks. I don't know which one.
I hope both.
Yeah, firework and guns. Fireworks out of a gun. But anyway,
Fireworks lit by gunfire.
so I have the top 6, just in case you want to know what number 1 is.
Mhm.
I have the top 5, and this is from Watch Mojo. So this is a reliable screen source. And then I also looked on IMDb and Screen Rant to triple check to make sure this was correct.
Okay.
I want you to name me the top 5 highest grossing war movies of all time.
Oh.
And now I will
Oh.
say there are some caveats to this. This is war, bang bang with guns. It's not like Gladiator's not in it, 300's not in it. Like those
Okay.
wearing sandals and shields type of wars are not in it. And also Braveheart does not count. Any of those medieval times movies. These are modern movies to where they're at least using gunpowder and guns to shoot.
Mm.
I thought this was pretty on
Uh-uh.
par with the rom-coms.
I'm scared. I don't want you to give me number 1 because I feel like
I
it might be
think
one that I would guess.
I think you have seen all of these except one. Talking about through the top 6, not number 1. I know for a fact you've seen all of them. If you haven't, we'll stop the podcast and that's what we're going to do. We're going to watch them. But
Turn this into a watch party.
out of the 6 that I have, there's only one that I'm skeptical if you have or haven't seen. All the other ones you should have seen.
Okay. Now, is this box office in America? Let me just.
Yeah, it's
try to
in
get a little bit
dollars.
clarification. Okay. Asked for a geographic region, and he gave me a currency. Got it.
Let me let me look.
Oh, I'm sweating on this one. This is gonna be a sense of pride. I really enjoy war movies.
I love
really
war
enjoy
movies. They're probably my favorite genre of film.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely up there for me as well.
So this is all this says is box office.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
We'll work with it. Okay. Number 1, not in any particular order.
So you don't want to know the top one.
No.
Okay. How many strikes do you get? 3? Do we say 3 strikes? Okay.
Because this is what I'm worried about is that I'm gonna rip off number 1. Right, it could be number 1 right now. I'm not promising, but I'm gonna just say Saving Private Ryan.
Saving Private Ryan is on the list. Fantastic war movie. It's number 3. It grossed $482.3 million in the box office. Now, if you would account for DVD sales, Saving Private Ryan becomes number 1. But this is just in the movie theater.
Okay. Ooh.
I knew you were going to guess that first, and I knew it was going to fuck you up that it was in the middle of the list.
That's kind of good, kind of bad. That's... Ooh. That is an interesting place for that to fall.
Yes, it is.
Okay, safe picks, Rick. Safe picks. We're just trying to get on base here.
So while Rick's thinking, we'll let him think, and I'll talk to all you listeners out there. Let me know when you're ready to give me another answer. You ready?
Uh-huh.
Okay, what?
American Sniper.
American Sniper is on the list. And this is going to fuck you up too. It is number 1, baby.
Okay. See, I'm thinking more current, higher numbers in some regard there.
Sure. There's some really good old war movies too, though.
There is.
American
I'm really
Sniper
trying to think.
grossed in the box office $547.4 million. It was a great movie, great book. If you haven't read, actually, Chris Kyle's book, fantastic book. But while Rick's thinking, unless he already has a third, do you have a third?
Nope, you
Okay.
go for it.
So while Rick's thinking, we had him on the podcast that doesn't exist a long time ago, our buddy Tommy. He hasn't seen a lot of movies. I don't know if he was sheltered as a child or he's just uneducated. Probably the second and the first. Just kidding. We love Tommy's parents. They're amazing. But we created the list of the top 100 IMDb ranked movies, and Saving Private Ryan is on there. We showed him Saving Private Ryan. And the scene at the end, spoilers, where the kind of wimpy guy that's been carrying ammo around everywhere lets the Jewish guy die to the German, where the guy, trigger warning, stabs him, and, slowly, and it kills the Jewish guy. Tommy got so mad that he threw something at the wall and walked out, and we had to pause the movie and wait like 20 minutes while he yelled at us before we had to finish the movie because we didn't tell him that was part of the movie. Fun little tidbit of Saving Private Ryan. If your friends haven't seen it, they love war movies, show it to them. Don't tell them about the wimpy thing at the end and watch them get pissed off. It's great. All right, you are 2 for 2 on your guesses with no strikes, sir.
Okay. Now, real quick point of clarification.
Sure.
This does not involve like satire, historical fiction, right? Like, let me just say, like, Inglourious Bastards is not on this list, correct?
Inglourious Bastards could be on the list because it is a war movie.
Okay. That makes it harder. That makes it harder because I'm thinking.
I can't
like,
tell you if it is or if it's not. I would consider Inglourious Bastards a war movie. What the directions said from the list that I got on Watch Mojo said that sandals and shields aren't involved. But like something like what's the spoof of the war movie that like Charlie Sheen, like Big Shots or whatever it is with Charlie Sheen in it, like that comedy. Same kind of comedies as like Major League and stuff like that. Like Major League would be considered a baseball movie, but like Scary Movie 1, 2, and 3 aren't scary movies. Movies like that don't count, but like movies like, I would say yes, you can't not knock off Inglourious Bastards off of this list because it's a war movie in my mind.
Chart real quick.
It's called Hot Shots,
okay,
Part 1 and Part 2. That's what the Charlie Sheen movie's in, where he's like Rambo, and yeah. So like that's not on. That would not be on here, but in a movie type like Tarantino and Inglourious Bastards could be.
Okay.
The Bear Jew.
Let me hope for another safe hit and go Black Hawk Down.
Oh, fantastic movie. Very true movie. Very not on this list movie. Black Hawk Down was when I was looking, Black Hawk Down was number 7 or 8 on this list. It was close. Great movie. Fantastic.
Great movie.
But it's not on here.
Ooh, one strike. Ooh. Thought we were going safe hits here.
They're safer hits.
Ooh.
And then for everybody out there, while Rick's thinking, you can keep going. What's your thought?
I think once again, a little more recent. It won some awards. Fury.
Great movie. Don't
do it to me again.
A little crazy on the end. So Fury was number 7. It is not on this list. Brad Pitt
Killing
was
me,
in.
Smalls.
Brad Pitt has been in technically 3 war movies. 2 of them, I swear, he played the same character. Inglourious Bastards character and the Fury character was very close together. They were both great.
Ooh,
Okay,
man.
I will give you this since you're at 2 strikes and not halfway answered. Do you want to know what I will give you the hardest one as an answer, and then you have to guess the other 3. So you would be guessing technically 1 through 6 with an answer of what I feel like is the hardest, because one of the hardest ones is in the top 6 or in the top 5. So then you would have to answer plus the 6th one.
Okay, lay it on me.
Okay, so what I think is the hardest one, and this is in my opinion fair after I read off the rest when Rick misses his next guess, is Pearl Harbor is on this list. Pearl Harbor gross.
I was gonna.
It's the hardest
what
one.
you think is the hardest
Yes.
one?
Yes, 100%. Pearl Harbor grossed $449.2 million.
I can't wait to hear this list and disagree with the hint you gave.
Because a lot of people, 58% of Pearl Harbor is not about the war, or there's no fighting at all. It's like a love story. So that's why I'm deeming this the hardest.
A love story revolving around the start of America's involvement in World War II.
Okay. I think the other 3 are easier to guess because they're better war movies. Pearl Harbor's not a great movie.
Shut your mouth.
It's good. It's not better than
Ben
these
Affleck
3.
is gonna punch you through the webcam.
I don't care about him. I'd be scared of
Wait
Cuba
till the
Gooding
next time
Jr.
you go to a
fighting me, though.
Dunkin'. Wait till you go to a Dunkin' Donuts drive-thru.
I don't go to the Dunkin' Donuts by local. I'll only go to Dunkin' if I'm in New Jersey, and I'm never visiting that armpit. I might, though. My family's from there, so we'll see.
Oh,
I think that's the
Lord,
hardest
Lord,
one
Lord,
on the
Lord,
list, man. I really do.
I'm trying to think, not like the best movies. I'm trying to think
Yeah.
what ones did the best.
Yeah. And that's the only reason Pearl Harbor's on this list. I wouldn't rank Pearl Harbor in my top 5 war movies.
No, it wouldn't be in my top 5 either.
Right, but it's in the top. It was actually number 4, by the way, of highest box office.
So I have 1, 3. You just gave me 4.
Yep, you got to guess 2, 5, and 6. All fantastic movies.
Okay, this is either going to be like not in the top 10 or it's going to land me a solid shot.
Oh, so
okay?
you're going ballsy.
Because like, oh man, I'm trying to think. Like, I never pay attention to box office results.
I don't
I'm be
either.
honest. Full disclosure, I do not pay attention.
I don't either, but I went 5 for 5 last week because I watch movies, and there's only like
whatever. I gave you Little Mermaid.
yeah, and there's also only like 5 good rom-coms. But surprisingly enough, for my rom-com answer, I'm surprised Legally Blonde wasn't on there. Legally Blonde's a fantastic movie.
It is 100%.
Anyway, continue.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. I was surprised wasn't on there.
Or Sweet Home Alabama.
How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days is better.
Yeah, I'm just saying. Everything we've named is better than Hitch.
Whoa.
I think Hitch was the worst one on that list.
Well, it was number 6.
Exactly. So I am correct.
Getting
All right.
back on track to Rick
right.
losing this game.
Rick's either going to
We're
get this
gonna
one
go-
right or it's not in the top 10.
Yeah, it's one of the two. We're gonna go. We Were Soldiers with Mel Gibson.
Oh, dude. My favorite fucking war movie of all time. I love We Were Soldiers. It's not in the top 6. Fun fact, any movie that was about Vietnam was not in this because it's such a controversial subject. So they never did great in the box office. We Were Soldiers is my favorite war movie of all time. All right, starting with number 1, you got it right. It was American Sniper, highest grossing war movie of all time. Number 2, also a very recent, is Dunkirk. Fantastic war movie.
See, I just didn't expect that to do so well in the box office.
Right, but how do you not expect it to do well when it's a Christopher Nolan movie?
Because
Yeah, Christopher Nolan does great. That grossed
I
$527
swear, if
million.
Hacksaw Ridge is up here though,
Hacksaw Ridge was a great movie, but it's not in here. I loved Hacksaw Ridge. I thought it was great. Andrew Garfield
it
did
was a
amazing.
good movie. It was a good movie, but see, if it would have cracked top 5 highest grossing war movies, I'd have felt the same
All
way
right.
you feel about Pearl Harbor.
Number 3, Saving Private Ryan. Rick got that one right off the rip. It fucked him up that if it was number 3. If it was number 1, I feel like Rick would have done better on the list. Not even.
I feel like yes.
Not even gonna lie. Number 4 was Pearl Harbor. That was the gimme that I gave Rick because I feel like it was the worst and also the furthest away from being a war movie in this top 5. Number 5, probably my favorite most recent war movie. Fantastic movie. Only shot continuously except for one frame break was 1917.
I didn't see it.
And that's the one that I was like, Rick probably hasn't seen. You should watch that because Rick, it is great, dude.
It got good reviews. I remember seeing that. I
and
paid
dude,
some attention to
it
reviews.
has a great cast. It has Richard Madden, the kid that played Tommen from Game of Thrones is the main character. Benedict Cumberbatch is in it. It's a phenomenal. Mark Strong is in it. It is a great movie, and it is shot. There is one scene in the movie to where it cuts and pans to something else. Other than that, the first half and the second half are shot on a continuous camera. It is really, really good. And then number 6. This is also in my top 5 greatest war movies of all time. Is The Patriot. I thought I was going to give you The Patriot away when I said if it has to deal with gunpowder, it's in this top 5.
So, okay, not going to lie, and it might not even crack the top 20 for box office. I don't know. But I almost threw out The Last Samurai.
I wouldn't have counted that as a thing.
Why?
Because they said no swords and shields.
No, you said no shields, and there was lots of guns. Spoiler alert for that movie.
Yeah, that's true. I wouldn't have counted that as a war movie. I would have let you retake that guess.
Gotcha. Okay, I almost threw that out because that's honestly what's hilarious about that. That's later historically than The Patriot.
And after the Civil War, because wasn't Tom Cruise's person like a
Yes.
Civil War? He was a Civil War veteran, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. The end of that era in feudal Japan's history was after our Civil War, but people were still using bows and arrows and swords.
Well,
Crazy.
to throw it out there, as I'm keeping a running tally in our little handy book right here that you can see over the Slams Fist Fact logo that Rick doesn't know that's right there.
2 to 5.
2 to 5. Rick gets to pick next week. I pick the current event. We'll see what shithousery Rick brings to the table next week. And
Don't worry, I'm gonna call it out now, listeners. We're not doing movies again. Not for next week at least.
I might do movies again because Rick did bad. So
I just mean next week. I'm not saying we'll never do movies again.
No, I will do something different besides movies when it's my turn as well. But yeah, so 2 to 5. I feel like you should have done better. Not gonna lie,
I should have.
I'm a little disappointed.
I should have.
I was right with saying
crazy is-
1917 was the one that I knew you haven't seen.
I think my brain just got so twisted because like when I went Saving Private Ryan, arguably best war movie ever, and then I figured American Sniper would be on the list, and when it was number 1, I was like, oh crap! Now I got to start thinking about more recent, higher grossing.
Yep.
Oh, and that just twisted my brain around to where I couldn't get back in rhythm.
Movies that were not on this list that made me sad For all you people that were alive when it came out. Very disappointed We Were Soldiers wasn't on this list. Fantastic movie. Very upset that Platoon is not on this list. I love me some Platoon. But like we said, Vietnam movies never do well.
Yep.
Actually,
That's why I didn't say Heartbreak Ridge.
Heartbreak Ridge was so good, though.
But Vietnam, I knew it wouldn't do that well.
Would you like to know the top 10?
Absolutely. Run them out.
Okay, so starting at 10. This is a weird one. This is the only one that's on the list that I disagree with. Great movie, but I think it's more about the war and not a war movie, if that makes sense. But I don't really know anything else to put this in, but it's Good Morning Vietnam. Fantastic movie.
Great movie, but that's interesting.
Yeah.
I would not have guessed
then Platoon, then Lone Survivor, then your Black Hawk Down at 7, like I said, then 6, The Patriot, and then you know the rest. Sorry about that, Richard.
Bad beat. It's all right. It happens.
It comes and it goes, and it just went bad for you. So, on to our lovely last and final topic of the day, sports. I'll let you start. So let's start with football. Let's start with NCAA football. 2 games of the week. What's one of them? And who's going to win?
Oh, see, this is tough. So there are 3 going to be good games this week. But the 2 that are definitely the most significant, I'm going to go ahead and call out Alabama, Tennessee. And I'm going to predict that Alabama loses at Old Rocky Top. Go Vols, baby.
Yeah. I hate both these teams. I think Alabama's going to win, so we can put this down. The fact that they lost to Vanderbilt and then they let us beat them for freaking 38 of 40 minutes or 45 minutes, 42 of 45 minutes. It's crazy. And we tied it up at the end and then just had to go for 2 game. And then we didn't make the 2-point conversion or it would have gone into overtime. I think Alabama's coming out after those 2 games with a vengeance. And I think Alabama's going to win.
Or they're on a downslide.
That's true. Second game, definitely game of the week right here, is going to be number 1 Texas versus number 5 Georgia. Pretty sure it's at Darrell K. Royal Stadium. Texas has got to play good to win. They really, really do. Georgia also has to play really good to win. I think if Texas plays like they did versus Oklahoma, they win. They beat the living dog shit out of Oklahoma.
Yeah. I mean, Texas just has such a high-firing, high-speed offense. Like,
yeah.
You look back at their schedule, and it's 52 points, 31 points, 56 points, 51 points, 35 points, 34 points against Oklahoma.
Who scored 3?
Yeah, who scored 3? Because Texas's defense is no joke either. You go back down that list, and it's even scarier, actually.
Yeah.
Colorado State scored 0. Michigan scored 12. UTSA, come on, it's a gimme game, but 7. 3 points, 13 points, 3 points again. They have not given up a lot, but they are taking everything.
It's going to be a great game, and I'm here for it. What's that third game you're talking about?
Oh, that team up north has a good matchup this week, and I only say it's a good matchup because it's a Big Ten game. They're both ranked, and I am super hoping that Illinois blows the brakes off of Michigan this week.
I agree.
It's in Illinois.
The Fighting Illini. Yeah, I'm taking Illinois because I'm supporting my friends. Fuck Michigan.
There we go.
This is the only week you will ever hear us talk about the team from up north until they play Ohio State at the end of the year.
That part.
Yep. Anyway, one lovely NFL trade that I want to talk about this week is Devontae Adams went to the New York Jets to be reunited with Aaron Rodgers. one, Devontae Adams was lying about his hamstring injury and should be fined because he was already in New York. When the news broke that New York traded for him, he walked into the facility 15 minutes later. When Aaron Rodgers was on the Pat McAfee show doing an interview, he shows up in the interview behind Aaron Rodgers. Devontae Adams just did not want to be a Raider. Now, is it the fact that he didn't want to play for Tom Brady since Tom Brady is now a minority owner in the, not Oakland, Las Vegas Raiders now? Who knows? Maybe it was the fact that he didn't want Minshew Mania throwing for him. I think it's bullshit, but it's awesome to see them two back together. It's not going to matter, though, because the Jets' O-line sucks. And that's what they should have traded for.
But I think the chemistry between them is going to go right back and click, and I think it is going to really vamp up their offensive.
I agree. It'll be fun. It'll be fun to see.
Yep.
You talk about your NFL trade, or you don't care about Amari Cooper?
I do care that Cooper's going to the Bills. I think that's a pretty big deal. I think Josh Allen getting a big threat on the outside is going to help. I mean, yeah, Jets have a really good defense, but how low scoring that game was really kind of exposed the Bills' lack of options when it's crunch time. Bills came away with it, but it wasn't pretty. And I think, not that Amari Cooper's in the same caliber as Devontae Adams, but I think he's a good receiver. He's big, and he can catch the ball.
I always love good old Coop. But
I think his time in Cleveland is unfortunate. But the man wanted to get paid.
Yeah. You have any more sports things, or can I rant about my three?
Just one that welcome back NBA. NBA just started back. The early games mean absolutely nothing, but it's exciting that they're back. Golden State's on a 5-0 win streak right now. That's pretty cool.
Oh, shit. They've already played 5 games?
Yeah.
I thought it was already still summer league, bro.
No,
Hence of why early NBA games don't matter.
Exactly. I mean, the lineups are still being played with. They're still trying to make final lineup decisions.
Yeah,
and
LeBron's trying to get his son to start.
Still. What?
I said, yeah, LeBron's trying to get his son to start, like...
Oh, good old Bronny.
It'll be great when we see them on the court. The Lakers should do that at a home game to get the hype out of the way so they play at the same time. And that's it. But yeah, welcome back NBA. We're super excited. We love the NBA. I know Preston loves the NBA. Go Spurs for him, but fuck the Spurs for me because I'm a huge Mavs fan. So Preston and I respectfully hate each other's guts during this time of the year, so it's okay.
Ooh, fun fact about the Mavericks, completely off of the wall here. Luka Doncic in the top 500 Overwatch players in the world right now.
Well, welcome to the nerd side of life, baby.
While also being a ridiculously good basketball player.
Would it be a top 10 current NBA player and top 500 in Overwatch of all time? Play me in Overwatch, add me. So, couple things that I have. Like I said last week, the United States men's national team played our first new game under our lovely coach. We won. We beat Panama 2-0 with our starters. Looks good. I've never seen America press and move the ball as fast as we have since I've been watching soccer. This is a great change to see. And then we played Mexico the other night, and we lost 2-0. First time we lost to El Tre since the beginning of COVID. But you know why it doesn't matter, America? 1, because we have a great coach who's pushing it forward. And 2, we started only 3 of our fucking starters. If we would have started everybody, we would have wrecked El Tre again. I have the utmost respect for the Mexico national team because it is such a great rivalry between us and them. But y'all started a lot of starters and we didn't. How's that going to count for in 2026? We'll find out when we're 2026 World Cup champs, baby. I truly believe it. It's going to happen. Also in soccer, Thomas Tuchel, a great coach that I wanted to come to Manchester United, is not. We're sticking with Erik ten Hag. He's coaching England starting next year, which I think is great. England finally has a good coach. Gareth Southgate stepped down. He's out of there. England finally has a coach. England should have won the last Euro, the last World Cup, the Euro before that, because their team is just a lot better than everybody else's in Europe. But the coach just didn't know what to do with those players. And now you got a coach who's won some Champion Leagues. He's won some Premier Leagues. You got a good coach over there across the pond.
Hey, Brandon.
Yeah.
It's not coming home.
I think the next Euro will go to England.
Maybe.
Third thing in soccer, my lovely team, Manchester United. I didn't know if you could tell by the 5 scarves that I have or the hat that I'm wearing. I'm a huge supporter of them. I have in my
Never
dirty
noticed.
clothes pile right there. Literally, I could put a jersey on right now in the next 2 seconds. Sir Alex Ferguson. There's no arguably about this. He is the greatest soccer coach to ever touch a field. He only won like 20 Premier Leagues, a couple Champions Leagues. He's great.
Rigged.
He hands down the greatest Premier League coach that's ever coached, right? We terminated his advisory contract yesterday to where it could make up, $2.6 million a year or something. And I get it. Ineos, this new partnership that bought us, that's the on-field presence and not the Glazers anymore. I was super excited about that last year when the Glazers finally stepped down and just took on a back role to this group. I feel like that's still great, and I know they're trying to do stuff. But 2 things that they shouldn't have done is stick with Erik ten Hag this long when we're 11th in the Premier League. And the second thing is you don't terminate the greatest coach of all time's advisory contract. You let that man die with that contract. He's already like 83 years old. Just let him live out his life. Is he still going to come to games and support Man United? Yes, he bleeds red. The city of Manchester bleeds red for him. Let him advise the fucking coach for 3 more years before he's like, all right, guys, I'm cool. I'm just going to watch the games now. But whatever. And then my last thing. Not about soccer. It's about baseball.
Ooh.
4 teams left to decide a World Series champion. If you are in America and you are not cheering to see a Yankees versus Mets World Series, you are stupid and wrong. Like, yeah, Dodgers, Yankees, that'd be cool. Probably, arguably the 2 best teams in baseball. Yankees, Mets, just the history behind that is awesome. They've only played once in the World Series, and the Yankees swept them. That ain't happening this year if that plays. Nobody wants to see the Guardians play the Dodgers. Oh, scary. Nobody wants to see the Mets play the Guardians. Cleveland, just give up now. Nobody wants to see your team make it. As much as people hate the Yankees, and I hate the Yankees as an Astros fan, by God, I want to see the Yankees play the Mets in the damn World Series, because as a baseball fan, how can you not love an inner city rivalry from 2 different conferences playing for the World Series? How can you not just love that about baseball? So you better cheer for them. The Mets are actually playing right now.
Dodgers, Yankees. That's what I want to see. I want to see Ohtani on that highest stage.
I don't. I mean, I do eventually, but not this year. Not with the Mets playing so well. Dodgers are up 2-0 on the Mets right now. Series is tied 1-1. So we'll see. It's a long series. It's 7 games.
Not if they win 4-1. Almost 5-1.
Yeah.
Not if they win 4-1.
That's true. Anything else, Rick?
That's all I got, man.
Sweet. Lovely podcast. Glad to do it with you. Just so everybody knows, we record these on Mondays usually to put out on Thursdays. Fun fact for all of you listening to us in the future, this one got recorded on Wednesday night because I fell asleep on Monday night and couldn't record.
Yep,
but anyway, sir, this is Slam's Fist Fact. For all you slammers out there and you one-fister Tino, shout out to Tino being the fister. If anybody else wants to be a fister, let us know. We'll change it. We'll shout your name out. You can contact us and follow us on Instagram at Slams Fist Fact. We have a Twitter that we don't use called Slams Fist Fact. We have a TikTok. It is at Slams Fist Fact. And if you have any ideas and or questions or anything cool you want to see on the show or cool fun facts in history, if you want to see some top fives that you made up, shoot me the list. Shoot me the list in any of the comments. We have a Gmail at slamsfistfact@gmail.com. I hope you get the trend by now. That's all of our socials. We post this every day on Thursdays on all major platforms. We're on Spotify, we're on Apple, we're on Amazon, we're on Google. And if you want to see our pretty little faces, you can watch us on YouTube too at Slams Fist Fact. But anyway, my name's Brandon, and I'm here with the Chewbacca to my Han Solo, the Doc to my Marty, and the Jules Winford to my Vincent Vega Rick. But until next time, everybody, this is Slams Fist Fact. I hope you have a good day, and we'll see you later.
1, 2,